You are now watching The Lone Blown. Blown! Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? You're back here at The Lone Blown, and today we're going to be going over another deck profile for the Atlas POG 2020 Championships. And if you don't know about that event, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, subscribe to this channel, because if you don't know about it, you're going to want to stay at this channel, because we are covering as much as we possibly can about our Ultra Prism to Darkness Ablaze format for that event. There's a lot of other cool videos too, so totally check that out. So over here we have Baby Blacephalon. Baby Blacephalon's a deck that's largely done well in our current format, and I don't see any particular reason why it would not continue to do well. Why would it do well? Why wouldn't it do well? Well, Baby Blacephalon is a single prize card attacker that you can power up in one shot with Welder, because Welder attaches 2 fire energies. See the fire energies right there? We got 13 of them. We have Fireball Circus, so we can power it up for 2 energies with Welder, 1 energy for our turn. Fireball Circus, and you can discard as many fire energy cards from your hand as you like, and it does 50 damage for each card you discard. So you acquire fire energies in your hand by using cards such as Fiery Flint, or even just Energy Retrieval to get them back from the discard pile, or Fire Crystal. You build up a large hand of energies, and then you go for a knockout on your opponent's Pokemon. This deck has largely been successful against tag team strategies, and it seems like it's going to be successful against the VMAX decks that are coming out in Darkness Ablaze. Namely, it should do well against Centiskorch VMAX, Eternatus VMAX, and against other decks too, such as Zacian ADP, as well as Pikarom. So where does Blacephalon really struggle? Blacephalon's going to struggle against control decks or decks that are other single prize card decks, because typically you spend a lot for a single prize card attack. Other single prize card decks don't have such a heavy requirement. Other single prize card decks also aren't knocking out 3 prize cards at a single point. So let's go over the deck one by one, how every card works. So this is our Pokemon that's going to be discarding energies to do a lot of damage. You want to make sure when you're using Fireball Circus that you are knocking out your opponent's Pokemon with that attack. You don't want to be 50 damage short. You don't want to be an energy short. You don't want to be 10 damage short. You go for Fireball Circus to get the knockout on their Pokemon. Make sure you count twice. Make sure you have enough energies. Energies attached to the Blacephalon. Don't mess that part up. We got Blazer as well. Blazer is a great way. If you do miss the attack, just go for a Blazer. It's better to not go for the Welder, or go for the full, like a Fireball Circus that does not get a knockout. Blazer's especially good against Jirachi because you can get a knockout in a single hit. Blacephalon-GX is mainly here as a counter to some decks. We do have Bursting Burn that you can use to burn and confuse your opponent's Pokemon. Or we can go Burst GX just to draw a prize card. I mean, every deck that can use a GX attack, there's no reason not to use one. Zacian V is really here just to draw some extra cards with Intrepid Sword. You can attack with Brave Blade, so during your first turn or two, you can build up a large hand. We have Dedenne-GX, so you could just discard your hands and drop the 6 cards. Sometimes you're just going to need this, your hand's not going to be great, or you're searching for that one Fire Crystal. Oricorio-GX is more or less a bench setter that you want to play when your opponent gets a knockout. So don't play it down until your opponent gets a knockout. And then just go for Dance of Tribute to draw 3 easy cards. Cramorant V is a great way to search out cards with Beat Catch, or knock out a Dedenne-GX or other Pokemon on your opponent's bench for 160 damage. Pretty easy way to just like steal some prize cards. And I added in a Crobat V. I'm not sure if this entirely fits in with the deck, but if you're discarding cards with Fiery Flint to thin out your deck, or let's say if you're looking for something or don't want to discard your hand, Crobat V seems like it could be useful in this deck. Not entirely sure yet, but it is something that I have been testing, and it has been working too bad so far. Jirachi, so we can search out our Welders pretty efficiently. I think it's pretty helpful when it comes to this deck. Mewtwo, so we can get back Welders as well. I wouldn't mind seeing a single copy of Boss Orders in this deck, especially since we do have the Mewtwo. But it's one of those things. We'll see if we do want the Mewtwo by the end of it. I do kind of like the Scoop Up Net Mewtwo combo in this deck. But let me know how you feel in the comments below. Got Heat Factory to just draw some cards. You want fire energies in your discard pile so you can get them back with Fire Crystal or Energy Retrieval. Don't always treat it as discarding energies. treat it as kind of keeping an energy bank for future turns. Ultra Space is a great way for you just to search out Blacephalon or Blacephalon-GX, and it's a great counter stadium. Welder is basically how this deck works, attaching fire energies, drawing 3 cards. Overall, pretty simple for a deck like this. Fiery Flint, we can thin through our deck, grabbing out a bunch of fire energies, and it does power up Fireball Circus very easily. We got Fire Crystal. Like I said, you want to have that energy bank. You can get 3 energies back at a time, whether you're using it for Fireball Circus or Welder, maybe a Heat Factory, discard Father with Quick Ball. Just make sure that you're using this as a proper resource. Quick Ball, just to search out our basic Pokemon. You can see that our deck is all basic Pokemon here. So you could do a lot of great stuff with all of that. Switch mainly for Jirachi, so you could switch out of Jirachi just when you're asleep, or get your Pokemon in the active spots. We also have an escape board for that as well, which should be very helpful. Energy Retrieval is just an extension of Fire Crystal. We can't necessarily play any more copies of Fire Crystal because we already have 4, but we can run the 3 copies of Energy Retrieval. Scoop Up Net's a card that I'm kind of torn on this deck. I've seen a lot of success with Scoop Up Net versions of this deck, just in my testing. But if you're not a fan of Scoop Up Net, feel free to cut those cards for something else. You could always go to Limitless TCG.com, see exactly what's going on there to see if there's something you're potentially missing, something that'd be cool there. What else do we got? We got a copy of Pal Pad. Pal Pad's mainly for the Welders to get back if Mewtwo, there's not enough bench space, or let's say you just need to get them back into the deck. Great Catchers is a great way to just bring up one of your opponent's 2 prize card Pokemon. Remember, it has to be GX, not V, so you can knock them out. We already went over Escape Board lightly for Jirachi. And then we have 13 fires, so that because we have the Fire Crystals, we have the Energy Retrievals. I don't think we actually went over Ordinary Rod. I skipped right over that. This is just in case you have to discard something off to Dedenne-GX, or if your opponent took a quick knockout on Blacephalon. Overall, the whole deck's main focus is to just go single prize card, Fireball Circus, Fireball Circus, Fireball Circus, and try to win the game as quickly as possible. Make sure that you're holding on to your resources when it comes down to this deck. You could be very wasteful in the early turns, and that will absolutely cost you games. Look for opportunities where Blacephalon-GX or Cramorant V could come in, because those are the only other Pokemon that can attack in this deck beyond Blacephalon at all. I mean, you could attack with Dedenne-GX if your opponent does have Thunder Mountain in play, so do realize when you're playing against Vigavolt or Pikarom, if they have a Thunder Mountain Prism Star in play, you can use Tingly Return or Static Shock, giving you another option. Beyond that, everything else, as far as I can tell in our current format, has no way of attacking. So you have to deal with the resources that we have with this deck. This deck is pretty simple to play, but it's hard to master. So if you're looking for an easy way to sneak in to day 2 of the Atlas Pog, this might be a really good deck to choose going forward. But I do heavily recommend playtesting with it on PTCGO or even Tabletop Simulator, maybe with some of your friends safely over the next little bit, because once you master this deck, it becomes a lot better. There's a difference between someone who's never played this deck getting a free win with a turn 2 Fireball Circus, or a person who's been mastering this deck over the past couple months, absolutely rocking it out at the top tables. So that's what we got for this deck profile today. I mean, nothing too special. I do like to go into some other games at some point, maybe over the next week. Maybe I'll stream at twitch.tv/TheLoneBlown. So check out my social media, mainly Twitter, which is also The Lone Blown, to see if we're going to be doing anything like that. But this deck profile, I mean, Baby Blacephalon has been covered a lot. It's been covered on this channel as well. So if you want to see an idea of how it looks in action, just check for that on the Lone Blown YouTube channel. Otherwise, I really appreciate y'all watching up to this point. Thank you so much, and have yourself a wonderful day. Really hope that you enjoyed watching that video. I totally enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like the video, share the video with everyone that you know, and subscribe to the channel as well. Totally appreciate all the support. We got a lot of cool things happening on the channel, so stay tuned for more. Be sure to check out the social links in the description. Thanks, and have yourself a great one.